Eric Keller here with Enthusiast Auto Group. It's time we share one of the most iconic and historic pieces of BMW's motorsport and racing history with our fellow enthusiasts. Today we're going to go over the E26 BMW M1. This car has so much historical significance for the brand, for the manufacturer, the drivers, the engineers involved with this project really are the backbone of what's created the M brand as we know it today. A lot of history on this online. BMW M Registry is a great resource. If you've not been on that website, a good friend of ours curates that, and there's a lot of good technical FAQ info. We're going to touch upon some of that here today. Giugiaro designed this with Lamborghini. He was one of the main engineers, or designers, excuse me, in Italy. And after Lamborghini's bankruptcy, their Ital design firm, just 10 miles away from Lamborghini, picked up where they left off and finished the bodies. The tube frames that are more race car than street for sure. And then they were shipped up to Stuttgart for final assembly and engine suspension. So designed in different countries, built in different countries, different teams, different engineers. These cars have a lot of unique irregularities to them that it takes a very discerning and educated eye to understand what the differences are. They made 399 street cars, so it's not a surprise that not a lot of people have seen these out in the wild. And the few that do come to market rarely are anywhere close to the condition of this all-original Survivor. This car has a really notable history. The first owner is a very well-known fashion leader. The primary owner shortly after him for over a decade was Mr. Medenica, and he is responsible for creating the BMW M Registry, the M Registrar, M1 registry that is, and he was also the first president of the BMW Car Club of America. That white E30 M3 over there was formerly his car as well. We bought that for our collection 6 years ago, 24,000 mile all original car. So that was his thing, is to have just the absolute best example he could. This car is absolutely just that. This was his second M1 and final before retiring from his duties in the car club and the M1 registry. The next registrar, Mr. Ura, was very helpful in helping EAG learn all that there is about the M1 and has reviewed a lot of cars with us to try to find one that was to our personal and professional satisfaction. The interior of this car is just in amazing shape. Very simple, very clean design. Everything serves a very obvious function and purpose. These cars had air conditioning, and it actually works on this example. Very few still do. A lot of cool little features on the M1s, like these vents right here are actually not supplies, but those are actually returns for when the HVAC system is on. So many of these cars have been chopped up and modified with all the period, boom boom stuff. This car's not that. The audio track comes from right there. The legendary M88 inline 6. So like a Porsche, you pop the rear boot from the B pillar by the door latch, and under here we have the fire-breathing S30 or M88 that later went on to develop into the S38, and then 14 days of work later, the S14. This M1 is really, really well documented, and that was one of the things that helped set this one apart from so many of the others. We have some period correct publications like Auto Week, when it was a periodical, before it was a magazine, before it was a TV show. Really interesting read, this one, July of '80. going over what it took to federalize the M1s. You can see these just huge rubber early versions of federalization bumpers. And the story is quite interesting with these two different federalizers, Trend Imports and ACI. I read this right here earlier today, and quite interesting to see the federalization stuff that they did relative to what they are in Europe. The provenance is really thick in this book. That's basically all the service history, from the service stamps and the original VIN-matched owner's manual. We've got a technical resource with all the diagrams, another copy of the owner's handbook, the M1 registry report, and a significant amount of service history going over the no-expense lifestyle this car's enjoyed and benefited from over the years. The certificate of originality or authenticity from BMW Mobile Tradition, the original tool roll, that's a hard to find piece and quite expensive these days. Medical kit and the warning triangle. The proper way to shut the boot lid in an M1 and reading the owner's manual is to press one side, then press the other. Up front, we have all business. This louvered front hood. We have the cooling system, battery, air conditioning, brake system, fuse box. So after Gordon had the car, he sold it to Bobby Rahal. Bobby is quite well known for putting motorsport stripes on lots of his stuff. This car, no exception. From there, it went to Don Dethelson from the workshop, actually spent some time with it and went through everything a second time after Gordon completed the final defederalization items requested. So this car is all European spec bumpers. The only two things that remain are the charcoal canister and the inboard filler necks, which to meet DOT, they had to put crash bars right here where the gas tanks were and support the gas tank with basically a cage around it. So we've got the two inboard filler necks right there that certainly make a statement when you pull up to the Shell station and you got a filler neck pumping in either side of the car. That's going to be a fun photo for us to take here when the weather gets a little nicer out. We've certainly enjoyed driving this M1 400 to 500 kilometers and shared those miles with some good friends and fellow enthusiasts that we've sold some cars to over the years. Those owners have E28 M5s, E30 M3 Sport Evo, a real nice low mileage E30 M3 as well, a different US car. And hearing their feedback after driving this car was, it's just all excitement. I think there might be some articles written about that here in coming days or weeks. Shout out Turtle Garage. So, if you are interested in owning one of the finest surviving original examples, this is just that. We certainly want to make sure we find a great home that's going to love and cherish and uphold this car for years and years to come, and we'll certainly be here for any support throughout their ownership. Our after sales program is little known to those that have not done business with us yet, but for those that have, they know it very well and certainly come back for more. We enjoy celebrating the purchase when somebody does commit to move forward with one of our cars and go information overload with lots of cool videos and photos throughout the rejuvenation program for any outstanding work that's not yet been completed. And for those that are in the EAG owners circle, all of our resources will always be open to them. So certainly keep that in mind for any of those that are watching that are EAG clients. If you need cars shipped here or there, need just general advice, certainly shoot us an email or call. We're here to help and certainly enjoy sharing our passion and hobby and profession with our fellow BMW heads. So appreciate you tuning in today. Got lots more cool stuff coming. Lots of cool cars in this room to go over in incoming weeks, including Evan's E46 M3 one of one competition sunroof delete, final year 2006. Very sparse optioned car. This has been a member of the EAG crew for quite a long time. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.